Greetings, friends and strangers alike. Welcome, one and all. My last challenge, can I beat Pokemon Silver with a random Pokemon after every gym, was an interesting run that provided a new twist at every turn. This one will be much more consistent, but much more difficult, as we're diving into one of the most well-liked and arguably hardest Pokemon games. Can I beat Pokemon Platinum with only a Drifloon? So Drifloon is an interesting Pokemon. Its Ghost and Flying typing means we have 3 immunities, which is awesome. Its special attack and speed are pretty decent for a first stage Pokemon, and its HP is actually very good. But our attack and both defenses are awful. I imagine I'll have to sweep my way to victories rather than tanking a lot of hits. So the rules for this challenge are simple. I can only use Drifloon in battle. I'll obviously need other Pokemon to use HMs, but they won't be allowed to fight, except for mandatory double battles. And lastly, no using items in battle, but I can use held items. My prediction is that this challenge is going to be extremely tough. Almost every major battle is going to have Pokemon that have super effective moves against us, so we will need to be a very high level to stand a chance in the late game. What level do you think I'll need to beat the game? Put your guesses down in the comments. While you're down there, feel free to leave a like if you enjoy the run, and subscribe for future challenge runs and Pokemon content. Alright, let's see what we can do. So I picked the balloon Pokemon Drifloon? I guess this was an old photo, huh? I replaced Chimchar so that our rival would have Empoleon, who will resist both Ghost and Flying. The first rival fight is actually impossible to lose for us since we're immune to normal type, but it goes extremely slowly since all we have is Constrict, the worst attack in the game. Thankfully we get a Ghost move in and Astonish as we level up, though it is physical. I get a chance to check out our Drifloon and it has the Unburdened ability, which is fantastic. I'm probably going to be making use of that a lot. Its other ability is Aftermath, which is useless in a single Pokemon run. We're also a neutral nature, which is absolutely fine by me. This is weird. When we get our Pokedex, Rowan says that we evolved our Pokemon already, and then Dawn says that she picked Chimchar. But shouldn't she have picked Turtwig, since we picked the replaced Chimchar? Anyway, I name our Drifloon the Child Catcher, after its fun Friday hobby. So I make it to Jubilife City, and Dawn tells me I'm an idiot for doing a solo Pokemon run, and I tell this police officer that I don't know what stealing is. I then proceed to lose to a Bidoof in the trainer school because the trainer used a potion, and I ran out of Constrict PP. Astonish doesn't affect Bidoof, so I had to waste all my PP and attempt to struggle. But because my attack had been lowered to -6 because Bidoof used Growl, I couldn't bring it down. First defeat of the run, and it comes against the god of all Pokemon. I guess I should be honoured that it felt me worthy enough to smite down. The battle against our rival is completely one-sided, since he only has normal moves. He did lower my attack though, so the battle takes almost 5 minutes. I'm really worried about the first gym since we're weak to Rock, and every one of Rock's Pokemon has a super effective move on me. I'll battle all the trainers I can and see where I'm at. I'm level 16, I don't think I'll do well, but I might as well try. Oh, well, I was correct, I don't even make it past Geodude. Oh, this is going to be bad, isn't it? So instead of just leveling, I try again using Minimize to try and dodge all of Rock's attacks. I get past Geodude, but Cranidos takes me out by healing and manages to hit its pursuit. I try a bunch more times using Minimize, but I'm just not getting lucky, so I'll get some more levels. I hit level 20 so I can deal more damage, and it still takes quite a few attempts, but I get this run, where I was 1 hit from death, but managed to pull through. Rock is embarrassed that he lost to a solo flying type, as he should be. I then take Rock out for a nice ploughman's lunch, since I brought the cheese for this fight. That was a stupid joke. Why did I write that? So I'm really glad that I didn't have to level much for the Rock gym. Not because it involves grinding, but because I think the grass gym will be really easy, and I'd hate to be over-leveled for it. Before that though, we have to take on the first Team Galactic commander, Mars. Her Zubat is a 2-shot with Gust, but Peruglia has Feint Attack, so GG. On the second try I attempt to buff my defences with a Stockpile, but Zubat uses Toxic, and it's over. Even though Peruglia's Feint Attack cannot miss, I need to avoid Toxic while buffing myself, so I start with Minimize. Takes a few tries, and I gave Drifloon an Oran Berry to help a little. Mars actually had the same idea, and Peruglia and I both have a half-time orange break before I managed to win with just 2 HP. If Perugla was tough to handle, I'm really afraid of Jupiter's Skuntank later on. But before that, I get stuck in Eterna Forest, as there is a mandatory Pachirisu to fight, and obviously I don't do well against electric types. Cheryl's Chansey is absolutely no help either, since it won't focus fire on the squirrel. I finally managed to get past a former VGC champion and look to take on the grass gym. So I thought this gym would be a cakewalk since I resist both grass and poison. Turtwig and Cherry are both easy knockouts, but her ace Roserade paralyses me, and I get fully paralysed for 5 out of 7 turns as I get whittled down by a magical leaf. She then almost throws the fight by going for Grass Knot, but it just lives and she uses a super potion. Then styles on me with the resisted poison sting for a knockout. Second try and I get leech seeded by Cherim, so we're in trouble. I did equip a Cherry Berry to heal the paralysis from Roserade, then I get a lucky crit with Gust. I can't believe I needed a crit to beat the grass gym. I'm so weak. Alright, I'm scared of Jupiter and her Skuntank, but let's face our fears. Zubat manages to do a lot of damage to me even though I buffed myself with evasion and defense, and Skuntank just finishes me off. After a few failed tries, I get to level 30 and learn Ominous Wind. I even get the Omniboost for my first use, which is amazing. I get more needed luck with a crit to take it out. So next up is the Ghost Gym, and I am not confident about this one. We can hit each other super effectively, but she obviously has more Pokemon and more powerful ones at that. I managed to get past Duskull with just over half health, but Miss Magius just takes me out from there with a Shadow Ball. It takes close to 10 attempts before I get a successful run. I surprisingly one-shot Duskull with Ominous Wind and get the boost. Miss Magius is now a 2-shot, and I see her Haunter for the first time. It gets off a Sucker Punch but goes down in 1. You would think that Miss Magius would be the most dangerous Pokemon in this fight, but her Duskull was an absolute menace. So many of my attempts ended because it left me too low with a combination of Shadow Sneak and Will-O-Wisp. Right outside the city we get ambushed for a rival fight. I get past Staravia fine and trade hits with Prinplup, but he deals too much damage to me so I just lose to Ponyta. Second attempt goes similar, so I try for my patented Minimise strat. Staravia tries to copy me with Double Team, but I sue him for infringing on my copyright and put him out of business. Permanently. Prinplup is next and I dodge his bubbles since I'm not a West Ham fan, and my Omniboost goes off. I'm a tiny lad due to Minimise, so neither Ponyta nor Roselia hit me, and I get the win. It's time for the fighting gym, and I think this one will be a joke since we're immune to fighting. Mind you, I thought that about the grass gym and I got lucky there, so we'll see. I know 2 of our Pokemon have a rock move, so it could get tasty. First though, we run into a roving pro wrestler, a luchador that sings. I would watch the hell out of Crash Awake. I wonder what his finishing move would be. Maybe like a body slam from the top rope called like Crashing Wave or Tsunami or something. Anyway, time for the gym. While I get to Lucario, no problem, and even though the only move it can hit me with is Metal Claw, it slashes the crap out of my balloon and I crash down to earth. Get out the grater, cause it's time to bring back the cheese. I can knock out Meditite in 1 with Ominous Wind, so I try and build Minimise against Machoke. I ram my head into a wall a couple of times before I just try and set up on the Meditite instead. I use Minimise twice and it misses Rock Tomb both times. I knock it out with Ominous Wind and Machoke is up. I use Stockpile 3 times and it does hit me with Rock Tomb once. I then use Ominous Wind hoping to get the Omniboost and I get it on my second go and knock it out. Lucario is last and I use my last Ominous Wind hoping for another boost, but no dice. Fortunately, it does very little damage to me since I'm sitting at +4 defense right now, and I nickel and dime it down with Gust. Gust has been useful so far, but it's kinda past its use by date in terms of power. It really sucks that it's the only flying move I get by level up. I had picked up the TM for Shockwave, which could be useful for the next gym, so I replaced Gust. I also learned Shadow Ball and I replace Ominous Wind. The Omniboost potential is fantastic, but only 5 PP is just brutal. Time for the Pastoria rival fight. Staravia is first, but all it wants to do is use Double Team, so I just set up Minimise and a Stockpile. Shockwave has 100% accuracy, so it's no problem at all. Prinplup takes them pretty well though, and does some good damage before going down. Ponyta misses Ember and goes down, and Roselia deals very little damage to me. I think without boost I might have lost that, but I'm not complaining about first try victory. Also, he mentioned something about being Crasher Wake's apprentice. Are they like tag team partners? Crasher and Dasher! Oh, that's fantastic. Anyway, forget about that. Let's attempt the gym. I'm only level 41, but let's see where we stand. Well, where we stand is out in the rain with no umbrella. I can only 2-shot Gyarados, who does half my health with Bite, then Floatzel comes in to finish me off with Crunch. Probably didn't even need that crit. I try a bunch more times, but I'm just too frail, and both Gyarados and Floatzel hit me extremely hard with physical moves. I grab a few levels, but it's just not helping. I keep trying for Minimize, but they just aren't missing as much as I need them to. I could really do with one-shotting Gyarados, so I need something more powerful. I grab the TM to Thunderbolt from the Veilstone game corner. Hopefully that boost on power will be enough. So I can one-shot Gyarados now, but not Floatzel, and it can almost one-shot me with Crunch. And one very lucky attempt I got through to his last Pokemon, but still lost. Maybe a dozen more attempts and I can't repeat it, so I'll just get some more levels. I try at level 47 and Floatzel still outspeeds me and I just don't one-shot it. I have an idea. So I haven't really utilised my ability yet, so let's try it. The Unbirded ability doubles my speed if an item is used or lost, so I'll make use of it to outspeed Floatzel. I equip a Citrus Berry and use Stockpile twice to buff myself against Gyarados. It knocks me below half health, so I eat my berry and heal. It goes down, and now I can outspeed Floatzel, and I actually one-shot, which is great. Quagsire is last, but its Rock Tomb is pretty weak against my buffs. I thought I would need the extra damage to tank a Crunch against the Floatzel, but I guess Thunderbolt with the damage range. Really tough fight, but I'm glad I got to think a little outside the box. Before our next gym fight, we have an encounter with Cyrus the Virus. Well, I can't even beat his first Pokemon Sneasel. I guess I made a move and the bunny got it. His Ice Punch does so much damage to me, and he also likes to start the battle using Screech to lower my defense. We're speed tied at this level, so I get one more to 50 so I can outspeed him. I start with minimizing twice and he misses Screech twice. I go for Shadow Ball hoping for special defense drop and I actually get it. I go for Thunderbolt and he goes down. Murkrow is a one shot and Golbat doesn't land a hit and also goes down. That would have been quite an easy fight if Sneasel didn't have a physical ice move. We're off to Canalave City and it's time for another rival fight. My first try I got all the way to his Roserade before I was taken down. Pretty good first attempt, let's try some more. Well, on my third attempt I get this run. I start the battle by stockpiling 3 times as this Staraptor isn't a huge threat, though it does waste my time with double team, so I'm almost at half health. His new Heracross is next and this is what the boost was for, as he can hit me hard with a Night Slash. I heal with a Citrus Berry and take him down, but I'm back below half. Empoleon is next and needs 2 Thunderbolts to go down, and he deals a small amount to me with Bubble Beam. Roserade is next, but only goes for Giga Drain instead of the dangerous Leech Seed like my first attempt. Rapidash is last, but the only move it can even hit me with is Fire Spin, so we scrape the win. That was with +3 defenses and a Citrus Berry. Oof. As tough as the run has been so far, it's time for the fight I've really been dreading. We need to take on the Steel Gym, and unfortunately, Drifloon doesn't learn a single move that is super effective or even just neutral against Steel, with the exception being Electric type. However, one of his Pokemon resists Electric and the other is immune, so that's useless for us. I'm going to be dealing resisted damage against very defensive Pokemon, while also taking super effective hits the entire fight. There is one small hope of salvation, however. Like almost every Pokemon, Drifloon can learn Hidden Power, and if you don't know how the move works, what type it is random from Pokemon to Pokemon. The only types that will help us out in the Steel Gym at all are obviously its weaknesses in Fire, Fighting and Ground. Water would also be very useful as it's super effective against 2 of the Pokemon there, so that's a 4 in 17 chance. Well, we have to risk it. I grab the TM from the game corner, and oh my god, it's actually water. That is absolutely huge. It'll actually be very good later for the Elite Four too. Man, I was not looking forward to the Steel Gym without that. Never tell me the odds. As much as it's come in handy so far, I choose to replace Minimize, since I think Stockpile could be more useful if I need it. So I'm level 57 at this point, and I grab the Mystic Water to boost my Hidden Power, since I believe items do boost its power if the item matches the type. I'm not sure it will be enough, but let's see. So Magneton is the tough nut to crack since I can only hit it neutrally, and I take around half from its Thunderbolts. I'm doing just under half with Hidden Power, which isn't enough. All but one of my mini attempts ended at Magneton, and the one time I got to Bastiodon, Hidden Power did less than half despite being super effective. I can't cheese my way through this wall, I just gotta level up and break through it. I get to level 60, I can now 2-shot Magneton. I get past Bastiodon due to him missing a Stone Edge and almost one-shot Steelix on my very first time seeing it. I did have an attempt where I got past Magneton without taking damage because it chose to use Metal Sound, but then I got crit by Bastiodon and taken out anyway. The very next attempt, however, Magneton does half to do with Thunderbolt and I take it out. I hit Bastiodon for over half and it heals with its Citrus Berry, then brings me to the red with Stone Edge. It then misses its next Stone Edge and I take it down. Steelix is last and I've lost in this exact position before, but I crit Hidden Power for a one-shot and take home the win. Man am I glad I got a decent Hidden Power for this fight. I tried using Shadow Ball against Magneton a couple of times just to see how much it could do, and it was around a third. That wouldn't have touched Bastiodon at all. Such a huge slice of luck to get through this tough battle. But it doesn't really get much easier from here, as next we have an Ice Gym, which of course we're weak to. I should have an easier time dealing damage, but I still won't be any better at taking it. I come in at level 64 with a Spell Tag equipped to boost my Shadow Ball. I do pretty well in every attempt getting to a last Pokemon Piloswine, but I'm just too low and can't one-shot it. I equip the Mystic Water to see if that can get me over the line, but no. So I equip a Citrus Berry just to see if that small heal helps. Sneasel is out first and does a big chunk to me with Feint Attack, while 2 Thunderbolts take it down. Herace Frostless is out next, but thankfully I can one-shot it with a Shadow Ball even without the Spell Tag boost. Abomasnow is next and sets up Hail to can chip me down. My Shadow Ball does just under half, but thanks to the recall from Woodhammer I can take it out next turn. In every attempt, this guy never once used his Ice move, which is strange. Like, why go for the resisted Grass move? Anyway, it did cause me to use my Citrus Berry, so I'm back above half, and last out is Piloswine. Her Stone Edge brings me to red health, and the Hail chips me down to just 10 HP as I get the win. I'm really glad she didn't go for the Avalanche with Piloswine, because the extra stab damage would have definitely taken me out. Well, there's no time to rest on my laurels, as the next team is Electric, which, again, I'm weak to. First though, we have to deal with the spacemen. And space women. Space people? Let's just call them morons. So let's take on Captain Moron. On my very first attempt, his Sneasel crits me for a one-shot. Okay. My fourth attempt goes like this. I win the speed tie and crit Thunderbolt for a one-shot. Honchkrow is next and I almost take it out and it hits me for over half my health with Feint Attack. Crobat is last and I almost take it out and he heals. But then he throws the fight by using Air Cutter instead of a second bite, and I get the win. See? Captain Moron. I get to the top of Spear Pillar and the Mars and Jupiter double battle might actually be pretty tough. On my second attempt, I start the battle by choosing the best strategy ever invented, knocking out the rival's Munchlax. Me and the 2 Bronzo just bully the poor guy until a more useful Pokemon can come help out. I leave his Rapidash to deal damage and set up some stockpiles as I'll need it to take hits from the aces. Perugly is out and I go on the offensive with Thunderbolt as it takes out Rapidash. Both Pokemon manage to take out the rival's Heracross and I finish off Perugly. Golbat comes out and I one-shot it so it's 2v1. I let Staraptor take out the Bronzo as I set up my third stockpile. I take a Night Slash from Skuntank pretty well and the battle is over. Time to head to the timey-wimey space world and face the Moron-in-Chief for the last time. I have numerous attempts end at only his second Pokemon Weavile since it's more powerful, and probably outspeeds me by a mile now since it's evolved. I do get an idea though. His Houndoom seems to use Will-O-Wisp sometimes, so I equip a Roastberry. Anyway, Houndoom is first and he does burn me, so I eat my Roastberry and my Unburden ability doubles my speed. I take it out with Hidden Power Water and now I outspeed Weavile. I get a crit with Thunderbolt to leave him below half after his berry, and Night Slash still does over half to me. Honchkrow is up and goes down to 1 Thunderbolt, as does Gyarados. Crobat is last and throws the fight again by just using Toxic. Electric Gym time, and I'm actually really scared of this one. While my very first attempt, I actually managed to get all the way to the Electivire, but I just got whittled down along the way. Both Luxray and Electivire hit me so hard with physical attacks. After a good first attempt, though, I'm kinda confident that I can just brute force this fight. Well, it takes a lot of attempts, but I get this run. Jolteon seems to open the fight almost every time with Thunder Wave, so I gave Drifloon a Cherry Berry to heal it up, and I two-shot it. I didn't need the speed boost from Unburden, but I just can't afford to be paralysed. Raichu is next, and I get a crit for a one-shot. Raichu usually hits me with a weak Charge Beam, but it's nice to take no damage at all. Luxray is up, and I get a second crit in a row for another one-shot. That's absolutely fantastic, as it often hits me for around 130 HP with Thunderfang. Electivire is last, and I get a huge special defense drop with Shadow Ball, meaning I can knock it out after its Citrus Berry. It does hit me for a whopping 164 HP with Thunder Punch, and I get an unneeded crit for the win. Very scary fight, but I was glad I was able to just keep trying, hoping for a crit rather than having to level up more. As I'm heading to the Pokemon League, I run into a really frustrating mandatory battle. This girl has a Blissey, and look how little damage I do with a magnet boosted Thunderbolt. And she uses Light Screen. And heals with Soft Boiled. This fight took 8.5 minutes, and I'd run out of PP on almost all my moves. But thankfully she ran out first and struggles herself to death. An absolute brick wall of a battle. Or I guess the soft to squishy wall? Like a bouncy castle. I love bouncy castles, but I hated that battle. So we're at the Pokemon League, but we have a final rival fight. Staraptor is easy, and while Empoleon is a 2-shot, it does have Shadow Claw now, which really hurts. Roserade then puts me to sleep, and now it has Shadow Ball, which is rough. Attempt 2 sees me get to Snorlax, but I know from previous challenges how bulky this thing can be, and it's far too much for me to get any further. I decide to try for a moveset change. While Thunderbolt is obviously more powerful, I'm thinking Charge Beam could be more useful replacement due to the special attack boost it can provide. So let's try that. Oh yeah, that works great. I stockpile 3 times against Staraptor since it can't hit me very hard. I get a crit with Charge Beam for a 1-shot and get the boost. Empoleon is next and I take it to just below half, getting a second boost. I knock it out and get a third boost. Roserade goes down to a Shadow Ball, and so does Heracross. Snorlax is out and I go for a Charge Beam, but I don't get the boost. I equipped a Figgy Berry before the fight because I was waiting for citrus berries to grow, so I get a small heal to help me last longer. I go for Hidden Power since it probably does more than Charge Beam. I just don't take it out and it rests. That's actually good for me though, because I can get to +4 with Charge Beam, and 2 Hidden Powers take it out before it works up. Rapidash is last, but it's a 1-shot with Shadow Ball. This Charge Beam strategy could be good for the Elite Four, since it makes me stronger the more the fight goes on. So let's have a look at our little balloon before we take on the Elite Four. I'm level 76 right now, and I'm doubtful that's high enough. My stacks look pretty decent, except defense, which has been a huge weak point the whole run. The high HP really helps with things like Citrus Berry heals though. Moves wise, I'm going to stick with Charge Beam for special attack boosting, and Hidden Power Water is really nice for Bertha and Flint. Let's get ready to meet and defeat the Elite. So Bug Trainer Aaron is first, and I try to stockpile against Young Mega. It starts using Double Team though, so I scrap that and just go on the offensive. It takes 2 Charge Beams to take down and I get my first boost. He sends out his Ace Drapion next and I Charge Beam. He Ice Fangs me down below half and I heal with the Berry. I get a second boost from Charge Beam and he eats his Citrus Berry. I try for Hidden Power at this range and it just doesn't take him out. I'm down to 81 HP and I get my third boost as he full restores. Thankfully he's now in range of Hidden Power and goes down. Caesar is next and brings me to just 9 HP with Night Slash as I take it out with Hidden Power and Charge Beam. Vespiquen is next and I get a crit to 1-shot with Charge Beam. I'm not sure if that was a needed crit as I know it's a very defensive Pokemon. Heracross is last but I 1-shot with Shadow Ball. That was a very tough fight for the first battle. It's going to get harder from here, isn't it? Bertha is next, and while I do have a super effective move for most of her team with Hidden Power Water, I can't boost my special attack with Charge Beam because she's immune. We'll just have to Raw Dog it. Is that still something people say? Yes, I'm a millennial. On my first attempt, I get all the way to a last Pokemon, and I'm agonizingly close to victory. Okay, I think this could be like the Electric Gym, where I just need to keep trying with the same strategy. It takes a little while, but I get this. I use Stockpile against Whiscash 3 times to survive the whole fight, while it chips down at me with Aqua Tail and Sandstorm. 2 Shadow Balls and it's down. Golem is next and it's 4 times weak to water, so I go for Hidden Power. I do get a nice crit, but in many attempts I 1-shotted it because it looks like it's a damage range, so I don't know if that crit mattered. I also 1-shot Rhyperior, and I think the level right before it gives me the special attack needed for the 1-shot. Glasgow is out and Ice Fangs me as I bring it to half with Shadow Ball. I then roll low on the damage and it survives to hit me with Thunderfang. She full restores, but this time I roll a bit higher and bring it down. Hippowdon is last and I get a crit that leaves it in the red, as Stone Edge and Sandstorm bring me low. If I take damage from Sandstorm one more time, I'm down. But thankfully, she's out of full restores and I can take her down. Oh my god. Once again, a very grueling fight that I barely won. If her Rhyperior had solid rock ability instead of useless Lightning Rod, I would have been cooked. More slang for you. Flint is the next fight, and while I do have Hidden Power Water, I'm not nearly as confident about this one, as he has a couple of Pokemon that can just wreck me. Well, my first attempt ends at his second Pokemon, as his Ace Magmortar hits me for around 120 HP with Thunderbolts. Oh man, that's so rough. I can't just muscle my way through with Hidden Power Water then, it seems. So I can't set up stockpiles against Houndoom since it can hit me really hard with Dark Pulse, so instead I tried for Charge Beams. After a few failures, I get this. I get my first boost while Houndoom sets up Sunny Day. I then get the second boost and Dark Pulse takes me to just above half. I almost knock it out but get my third boost and my Citrus Berry kicks in. He uses a full restore but I get my fourth boost. Even though it's resisted, I go for Shadow Ball since Charge Beam isn't 100% accurate. Big Boy Magmortar is out and now I'm at +4, so Hidden Power Water can take it out in 1. The rest of the team are also just one-shots with Hidden Power, and I managed to scrape out another close win. I was really afraid that his Infernape would survive and just destroy me with a Thunder Punch, but our little balloon is just ploughing on. Lucian is next and I'm not sure how this one could go. I have a type advantage being a Ghost type, but his Pokemon could still hit me very hard, especially if his Gallade comes out early before I can set up, which is likely considering the Aces have always come out second so far. Well, my first attempt ends because I got paralysed by Mr. Mime and taken out by Gallade. My second attempt, however, Mr. Mime sets up both Reflect and Light Screen, so I use the opportunity to stockpile 3 times. I then go for Charge Beams hoping for boost while the Light Screen is up, and I get to +2, and eat my Citrus Berry to give me +2 speed. I take out Mr. Mime and outspeed and one-shot both Espeon and Gallade. Bronzong is out, and though he does full restore and set up a Calm Mind, I can take it out with 2 Shadow Balls. Alakazam is last but goes down in 1. Well, I guess I should have expected the Psychic Guy to be the easiest, but I think it was only due to the Charge Beam boost. Alright, it's time for the Queen of the Pokemon fandom, and I am dreading this battle. 5 of her Pokemon have a super effective move against me, and Garchomp is, well, Garchomp. I've underestimated my little balloon too many times, however. He's got just one last battle before retirement. Let's do it. Yeah, it's not happening at all. Spiritomb just annihilated me on the first try. I tried maybe 10 more times, but I only got past his Spiritomb once, and went down to Milotic immediately afterwards. So I think Charge Beam boosting is the way to go, but it isn't a powerful enough move on its own to take down Milotic. I think Hidden Power has run its course, so I relearn Thunderbolt via TM. I also pick up the TM for Psychic since I don't see a chance to set up stockpiles at all, and it'll really help against Roserade. So I get back at level 79. I managed to get a lot of luck against Spiritomb to get +4 special attack when it goes down, and I'm on just 2 HP. I then sweep through the team to get to Garchomp, but even a +4 Shadow Ball can't bring it down in 1. That was by far my best attempt at this level too. I can't one-shot Milotic without a lot of boosts, but I can only take 2 hits from Spiritomb. Strategy has gotten me this far, but now I need more power. I try at level 82 and I'm still not even getting past Milotic. Level 84 doesn't seem too much better, and I was considering leveling up more until I get this run. My strategy remains the same against Spiritomb, using Charge Beam to try and boost him. I get to +2, then take it out with Shadow Ball. Milotic is out and I get a huge crit, which means I can use Charge Beam to get 2 more boosts before it goes down to a Thunderbolt. Lucario and Togekiss both go down to 1 Thunderbolt and Garchomp is out. Thankfully now with those extra levels I can one-shot it with Shadow Ball, and Roserade is a one-shot with Psychic, as I get the win and enter the Hall of Fame. Oh my god, that was a tough final battle. Obviously if I'd have kept leveling it would eventually be an easy win, but even at level 84 it was very hard. I wasn't expecting Spiritomb of all things to be Cynthia's greatest threat. This run was very interesting though. I got to utilise a bunch of different strategies while keeping my level down for the most part, instead of just powering through. I especially leaned on healing with berries in the late game. I did get a huge piece of luck with Hidden Power being Water type, as the Steel Gym would have been by far the biggest brick wall in the run without it. Overall though, I did have a blast with this run. What did you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to make me smile, leave a like. I have made other kinds of challenge runs, not just Pokemon, and I plan to make more, so subscribe for those in the future. I also plan to make some more Pokemon content in the future, with battling on Pokemon Showdown, and maybe some quizzes. I do plan to stream those Pokemon quizzes, and probably some Pokemon Showdown as well, so check me out over on Twitch for when I'm live. I also have a Discord, if you're interested. That's it for this video though, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!